parties should take responsibility, defeat and the then government. But I believe that what I have made very clear is that I have my priorities that I believe will lift the country from where we are now to a situation of real economic development. I know that maybe there has been a misuse of funds, but there has to be a serious engagement between the donors and ourselves, which we are now asking for.
The chiefs hold sway here in Kailahun just as they did in Green's day. They balance their culture of secret societies and the African bush schools with intrusion from the West.
Many of the Western aspirations may not be as useful to us in this part of the globe as it will be as have been provided by nature for us. Of course, as the paramount chief is saying, there are some good vices. Man should be exposed to changes, but changes for the better.
Where do the secret societies, the alligator society, the gorilla society, the hunting society, where do they fit into your culture? Are you a member of a secret society, sir?
Affirmative.
You are?
Affirmative.
Are you allowed to tell me anything about it?
Oh, it is very clear. We don't talk about it. You want to join? We can join you.
I could join?
Yes, it's democratic. You can join.
But I would have to be initiated?
Yes, before you become a member.
What would happen to me?
No, that one you know in the bush. In the society bush. Nothing will happen to you. You'll be like me.
Okay. Liberia has been for many years a full democracy, and Sierra Leone had colonialism for a long time. What do you think it's like over there?
Well, before the war, the people, according to our people, they say that Liberia can do cannibalism, so most of us we are afraid to go there.
Cannibalism?
Huh?
They eat people?
Yes.
We head off to Liberia itself, where Green said the suggestion of malice and evil was so great that he began to half believe it. He only had a sparse military map showing uncultivated land and cannibal tribes. I must admit I'd expected a lot more than this. Two war-torn countries, Sierra Leone and Liberia, but hardly any security at all. Just a bamboo pole on a piece of rope, so easy just to walk from one country to another, and the immigration post and immigration officials very relaxed. In fact, we're the only people that have come through here officially today. Technically, Liberia has been a democracy since 1847. It was known as Little America, a land for freed American slaves to rebuild their lives, with shared pursuits of freedom, happiness, and the ability to make money. But things didn't work out like that. Instead, there was civil war, driven by bad government and greed over diamonds and other resources. It ended with international intervention led by the United States. Now 10,000 UN troops are in Liberia, keeping the peace, helping to build what Green described as civilization. But what did it mean then, and what is the end goal now? Further along, we reach the United Methodist Mission in Ganta, founded by a Dr. Harley, who taught Green about the secret societies and bush life of Liberia. The school and hospital here still give education and health care for thousands around. where the beliefs of Christian evangelism come face to face with the beliefs of the African bush. Has your relationship with God changed after working here?
Certainly is much stronger, I think, is having to rely on him and his strength to get through a lot of things, and in some ways, yes.
The secret societies, the devil worshipping, the ritual stuff, how does that clash with Christianity?
Well, there is a difference of spiritual beliefs. There's a phrase called one foot in the bush and 1 foot in the society, or one in the hospital, or different places where there are the torn between the two cultures.
The Liberian bush all around us was quiet. Green called much of it dead forest, bereft of any human emotion. Yet this is the landscape loved by Liberians. No native boys or girls are considered mature till they pass through the bush schools Green discovered. All the way through the great forests of the interior one comes upon signs of them. A row of curiously cropped trees, a stockade of plaited palms, indications that no stranger may penetrate there. Here is the spiritual heart, as it were, for many when choosing between the bush and the modern world. In the village of Zagorwe, we find the celebration of a stilted devil dancer, and a concept alien to our Western thinking. The devil here represents power. It's neither good nor evil, wrote Green, simply power. When we in the West think constantly about our rights and moral struggles, here power is something that simply has to be dealt with day on day in life. When the devil says dance, you dance. The capital, Monrovia. From the interior we drive into an urban chaos where Green said people had been taught to steal, lie and kill. Was it wise to leave the simplicity of the bush, asked Green, for the civilized world, one that was being shaped by intrusion from the West? One of the sort of concluding thoughts was, Graham Greene, the whites had intruded but they had not advanced. They left relics of religious impulse, sentimental, naive, but destined to failure. Is that how you see this latest cycle?
Well, you might say that, you know, that is our experience anyway in Liberia, because there wasn't enough to keep the nation state going through the evolution that would lead to development. It was all a survival, and so they never put enough in it, whether it was building the institutions or providing the education and training that will enable people. It was just enough to cope and to survive. And so the society became a very close society for its own survival. In a way, you might say that because of the failure to, you know, to have a proper plan for the nation to develop, that it was, in a sense, a failure, a planned failure.
But they're on the right path now?
I think so. I think we're on the right path. I think we've had enough. We have enough of suffering and deterioration.
Graham Greene wrote about roads going backwards and not forwards, of telegraph poles being broken, of the West lending money that couldn't be paid back, of politicians preferring to kill rather than accept election results. I've seen a lot of that on my journey through these countries. The paramount chiefs, the lightning makers, the missionaries, and the devil dancers and the pot-bellied children, they're all still there. In the past 70 years, many other parts of the world, such as Asia, have managed to transform themselves. And there's hope that that might begin to be happening here in this part of Africa. So that a writer coming through 70 years from now on the same journey might see the roads, the hospitals, the schools, and as one person told me, the skyscrapers that they all look forward to so much. Green wrote about the failed attempts to change Africa, of its unconquered virginity, and it always having the last say. Yes, but the West will keep intruding, and the stilted devil will always continue to dance. The chiefs hold sway here in Kailahun just as they did in Green's day. They balance their culture of secret societies and the African bush schools.
Both parties should take responsibility, defeat and then government. But I believe that what I have made very clear is that I have my priorities.
With intrusion from the West.
Many of the Western aspirations may not be as useful to us in this part of the globe as it will be as have been provided by nature for.
Priorities that I believe will lift the country from where we are now to a situation of real economic development. I know that maybe there has been a misuse of funds, but there has to be a serious engagement between the donors and ourselves, which we are now asking for.